Good morning, Mama Bears and professional eye rollers. I had came in here prepared to do a video this morning, and I was going to talk about men, some people's favorite subject, others not so much, and I was going to talk about how to train them, alienating probably half my audience. And I thought about talking about where have all the good men gone? And I'm still going to do that. I don't know if any of you know, I am an author as well. And you know how some people say, I wrote the book on that, figuratively speaking? Well, definitively, I did write the book on that. So we're going to get into that, but I think not today. I think maybe later on in the week we'll do that because there's just been something that's really weighing on my heart. And I went through something for many, many, many years that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. And it has literally made me an expert in the subject. And there's not a lot of people my age that are. And what that is grief, particularly unresolved grief. So if you like to watch Grammie Tammy just because you think she's funny to lighten up your day, this isn't the video you want to watch, okay? Now, if you tune in and you talk to me because, I don't know, because you can relate to me, and we can have some serious discussions and it makes you feel not quite so alone. And I'm not trying to insult you. I feel alone a lot. And the worst thing is when you are surrounded by a lot of people and feel alone. And I am, and I do. But like I said, the one thing that I have probably the most experience with is unresolved grief. And it started with my dad. He died when I was 3. Um, it was sudden, it was unexpected. So nobody in my family knew how to deal with that, just on their own level, let alone um, how to take care of a 3-year-old and explain it to her and navigate her through the grief. So I really don't, I can't say I don't fault anybody because, you know, I was a kid. Somebody should have picked up the ball, but they didn't. But they tried. It wasn't because they didn't try. They just, you know, they were doing things. They just really did all the wrong things. Like my mom, she didn't tell me till it was a couple years later before she even told me that he had died. And then as an adult, she said that she just didn't know how. Which you can imagine what that does to a kid. My goodness. I mean, I looked for him everywhere, everywhere we went, because I thought he, you know, I believed her. He left and wouldn't be back for a long time. So, you know, after a couple days, that seemed pretty long to me. Um, but that was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. And it was never dealt with properly. And then after that, I literally lost my papa. And when you have a dad that dies, you replace him with other people. You know, you have different father figures that you look up to. And it seemed like every person I replaced him with just kept dying. My papa, my granddad. Um, it was like every couple years I would lose somebody. From the time he died until I guess the last person I lost that I was extremely close with would be my mom. And that was on February 25th of 2009. And all my grandparents had already been gone by then. My best friend had died by then. And let's see, that's been 17 years ago. So this is the longest I've been my entire life. This is the longest I've been without losing somebody I loved. And that really takes a toll on you. You're always waiting on the other shoe to drop. You worry about being abandoned. But there's nowhere to go talk to somebody and know what to expect. Now don't get me wrong. There's grief counselors and I know I'm rolling my eyes. Hence the professional eye rollers. But a lot of those grief counselors have lost one person or lost a couple people from natural causes. It just, you know, everybody's different. And there's a lot of things that they don't talk about that I really think should be addressed. The different ways that it creeps up on you. The way, if you know, it's just some things, the things people don't talk about. If you haven't cried in a while, you'll look for reasons to make you cry, because grieving them is easier than them just being gone, if that makes any sense. And then when you do that, you feel guilty. Or if you laugh, if you're happy, you feel guilty. You know, it's like that takes away, and it makes you feel like you're not showing that you love them as much if you're happy or laughing or not crying. And you get into this pattern, and it's like you're in constant fight with your own body. Where you try and prepare yourself so nothing sneaks up on you, because I'm going to tell you what, grief is sneaky. It's really sneaky. You prepare yourself and think, okay, 10 more days till their birthday, 9 more days till their birthday, and so on and so forth. I don't want to open that closet because all that memorabilia is in there from this person. And then you go to get something out of your cabinet, and a Tupperware deviled egg container falls out that was your mom's. It's not in the memorabilia cabinet. No. Because it's just an egg container. And when you put it in there, you didn't feel like it was this major thing. And on some days it wouldn't be. But on this particular day, maybe it's a certain temperature outside, or a certain type of weather, or maybe you notice in the corner of it your mom's name written in cursive writing from where she took it to a church supper, and it just hits different. So you can't prepare for that. You know, if one time it does nothing to you, and the other time it completely wipes you out for the entire day, where you're sitting in a corner bawling your eyes out, and nobody can even speak to you without you crying, how do you prepare for that? You don't. I don't care how much you want to pay a counselor, and you go in and you talk to them and they try and give you advice. The answer is you don't. You just got to swim through it. And that's so not fair. It's really not. And I hate, oh my gosh, I hate seeing people hurt. I'm the person that cries at every movie that's sad, because I don't like to see people hurt. Um, so I'm hoping I can help you because I've been through a whole lot of this. And I wanted to come on here and I wanted to tell you it's okay to be sad as long as you need to. It's okay to grieve. It's okay to laugh. And a lot of times you're going to think you're not doing it right because a lot of people around you have no clue how to help you. Like my husband, he's never really lost anybody close to him. And I always want to say, I wish he had, but isn't that a horrible thing to say? I'd be horrible for him. I don't wish that on my worst enemy. But oh my goodness, it would have made so many things so much easier for me, which is selfish. I know that's selfish. But maybe, maybe you lost somebody and maybe other people that are around you weren't close to that person and you don't have anybody to talk to. And, you know, maybe you just don't want to go to a therapist or group therapy or grief counseling or any of that because you're just not comfortable with it. Why make yourself feel worse? Not everybody's comfortable with that. Maybe you just need somebody to talk to that knows how you feel. Even though it may not be exactly the same, but there will be similarities. Well, and here I am. Sorry, but you got me. um, there's just so much, There's so much. I'm trying to bring it, pull it all in to see if I can define it. Number one, help you tackle it. Number two, I think the main thing is you can't let it get away from you. You have to address it. It doesn't mean you have to fix it. There's no fixing it. But what you can't do, the number one rule, and this is universal, this is not different from one person to the next, you cannot ignore it. Because that's what I did. And I am quite literally dying from that right now. I have numerous autoimmune conditions. I have diastolic congestive heart failure. I have pulmonary hypertension. But a lot of my illnesses were brought on from unresolved grief that piled on and on and on and created so much stress that it wrecked my body. And you just can't imagine what it can do to you. So don't get to that point. Do not get to that point. That is something you can do. That's not to say you're going to handle it the same way I did once I did start dealing with it. But you can't ignore it. Period. You just can't. When you hurt, don't try to hide it. That's a big thing. You don't want people to see you cry, or maybe you don't want your kids to see you vulnerable. You want them to feel safe, or I don't know. There's all kinds of different reasons you might be avoiding things, and maybe you might be telling yourself that's why you're doing it, but it's just because it hurts so much, and that's the real reason. I don't know. Only you know that. But I wanted to come on here and I wanted to talk about that, and I wanted to tell you because I do care, and I don't want anybody to go through what I went through for over 40 years. I mean, that just sounds, I look back now and I hear that number, 40 years unresolved. I have no clue how I made it to this point. Because another thing that a lot of people don't realize, grief, they think it's something you feel, your emotions. Grief is physical too. It is physical. It hurts in a way, like if you go, if let's say you're having chest pain. I've had plenty of that. Hopefully, well, no, let's hope you're not having chest pain. But let's just, like if you go to the doctor and you tell them you've been having chest pain, well, is it sharp? Is it dull? Is it throbbing? I don't know. It's pain. And that's grief. You can't define it, but it is physical. If you've lost a parent, you're riding down the road in the car and you look over and you see like a mother-daughter or father-son, whichever the case may be. You feel it. You feel it in your chest, sometimes in your stomach. And there's no way of describing it. Is it sharp? Is it stabbing? I don't know. It just hurts in a way that is indescribable. And luckily, so far, I've been blessed. I've never lost any children, but I can't even begin to fathom what that must feel like. I don't ever want to know. My heart breaks for friends of mine that have lost their children. It's just, I can't imagine. But and also, even you may think, okay, well, I grieve this way. Well, it may be a different way for different people, and it doesn't define whether you love this person more or less or anything like that. There's no way. If you could write a book on that, like I did with How to Train Your Husband, How to Grieve, you'd be a mighty successful person, because there are no answers. That's the problem. That's the crux of it. There is no answer. It's like you're drowning, and at the same time, you have cotton mouth, your mouth's so dry. At the same time, it's like conflicting things that can't be fixed, that there's no way to get through other than just to keep going, head to the ground, forward, more and more and more and more, till you get to the other side. But in the same time, realizing you don't ever get to the other side. You just take a different path. And I don't want, I want to do this to help you. I don't want to make you feel like it's hopeless. It's not. It's really not. There are positives. I am stronger now than most anyone I know. I have a daughter who I overheard tell somebody, my mom is the strongest person I know. Wow. Talk about a stamp of approval. Of course, she probably has a lot of other negative things to say about me, but boy, was I proud. And I earned that through grief. No way would I be the person I am today were it not for that. And sometimes, I don't want to be hard. I don't want to have a hard edge. I want to stay soft. And sometimes it makes it where it's a little hard not to be jaded or bitter or too hard because of that. But you know what? That strength is there if I need it. And I earned it, trial by fire. I earned every bit of it. And I want it to be there for you too, which is why I wanted to post this video. I know this is not the norm that I'll be doing, but, Grammie, Tammy, Raw, and Uncensored, a lot of that is about raw emotions and things people don't speak about. And, most things, you can find the humor in everything. I suppose even grief. Um, Although, that's an accomplishment I haven't made yet, but it's also about raw emotions, about being real and keeping it real. So if I feel something and I feel like I need to say it, I struggled with this because I thought, if you watch me, are you expecting one thing and will you feel cheated if you don't get that? I did. I struggled with that, and I thought, well, it's just a little bit of a delay, and I'm going to say something I feel like needs saying because I don't know. Maybe you need some help. Maybe you need to figure out how to deal with this. Um, Maybe you need to know you're not alone, and maybe you need to know that absolutely every single thing you're feeling is okay. Um, I looked at people, and how do I say this without YouTube completely taking my channel down? With so much, okay, I looked at people with so much hatred. Um, I didn't know if I could control my actions, and that terrified me. I never crossed that line, never would. Now I know I never would. But at the time, I didn't know anything. I was doing good just to um, wake up, get out of bed, put both feet on the floor, get to the restroom, come back out, be around people when they talked, be able to tolerate it until all of a sudden my skin didn't sting. Because just the sound of people's voice felt like 500,000 needles in the beginning. It's just, like I said, if you haven't gone through it, there's no way to understand it. But I want you to comment. I want to hear from you. I want to know if this is helpful in any way or if I'm just rambling. I don't know. I don't know how to help people. I just know I want to. And I know that when I was going through this before, I was able to wrap my head around it as best you can. I would have given anything to be able to just go online and talk to somebody who had been through what I went through. And it wasn't there, you know. Um, there were grief support groups, like I said, online, but it would be somebody lost a family member or their whole family at the same time. And that's a horrible thing. Don't get me wrong, but what I'm talking about is a little different. Um, I'm talking about compounding unresolved grief, where it starts at a certain age and just builds every 2 or 3 years and builds and builds and builds. And I mean, that's far more dangerous to your health than smoking or drinking. I don't know. I'm sure there hasn't been a study done, but I'm telling you now anyway. It is. I'm living proof. And you're not alone out there. You're really not. There are ways to get through it, and there are days that it gets better. It doesn't go away. That's right. When people tell you that, oh, I hated hearing that too. Hated hearing that. It does not go away. It just sort of your body kind of absorbs it, and it changes who you are. That's a fact. It definitely changes who you are. Um, I don't know. I mean, maybe I don't have all the answers, or maybe I can't help as much as I thought I could, but the offer's out there. Feel free to comment. Let me know if there's any way I can help you, what you're going through. I'll be happy to talk to you. Um, Meanwhile, Grammie Tammy will be sitting here contemplating her life choices, wondering if she once again scared everybody away from being too serious. Just come right out and lead with the big dogs, you know. No, I just want to, mainly if as long as I'm keeping it real here, that's all that matters to me. I want to be honest. I want to keep it real. I want to enjoy each other's company. And if I can help, amazing. If not, we'll share a few laughs and, or a half hour here and there, relieve some boredom. And that'll just have to be enough. Until next time, when we learn how to train our husbands, more helpful advice, a little more lighthearted. You take care. We'll talk later. Thanks.